Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 4 of Tour of Romandy 2025. Now, if you guys watched Beyond the Coverage yesterday, I told you this was a big day for Remco Evenepoel. He had a press release that he stated that he thought his form was coming back after stage 2. But we saw him get dropped on stage 2, tactically dropped. We saw him win the sprint to get 6th spot, but he said his legs were coming back and that LBL form, or lack thereof form, the dip in form, was now coming back because he felt good on stage 2. I told you guys yesterday in the Beyond the Coverage that I didn't see that happening, especially after finishing stage 3, where we see Jay Vine, UAE Team Emirates, win from a K out on an uphill finish, where Remco Evenepoel got 9th. So you get 6th on stage 2, but you won the sprint, but you were sitting on for the last 20 kilometers if you're Remco Evenepoel, and then you're near the front of the group for the sprint starting on stage 3, but you get 9th, and Jay Vine solos, gets about 5 seconds, we'll call it, plus the time bonus. But then we see that UAE Team Emirates, Almeida got 3rd to get some more time bonuses on stage 3. So Remco Evenepoel, I don't believe that his dip in form that he said was at LBL, which I said is at Flesh Wallone, not LBL, I believe it's still here, because otherwise we would have seen him possibly win stage 3, or at least go 1, 2, or 3 on the stage, and we would have seen better tactics out of stage 2. Well, tactics maybe not, because tactics don't have anything to do with legs. Stage 2 is knucklehead tactics from both UAE and Pseudo Quick Step, I told you guys yesterday. So when we start this stage 4 here of Tour of Romandy, let's take a look at the profile, because it's about 130 kilometers with 5 categorized climbs. I'll call it 80 miles in distance. And then it's the last summit that's 21 kilometers at over 7%. Tion 2000. This is a monster of a climb here at over 7% with 11% sections for 21 kilometers at over 7%. This is a big one. Probably one of the biggest ones we've had at the European Peloton that they faced in 2025. That's what one of my commenters said. When I look at it roughly, I got to agree with them. This is probably the hardest climb that the European Peloton's seen in 2025. All right, well, let's get into this stage, because there's a ton to figure out, because the race leader is Alex Bodine from EF Education. Remember, he's gone some good form, but he hasn't won a stage, because it was Lopez that won the stage in that 5-rider break on stage 2. That Pseudo Quick Step let go up the road with the rider in there, and we're talking about Billy Lesurf. Billy Lesurf was in there, and again, if I could take you back to the article that Remco Evenepoel said, Billy Lesurf, that was a good strategy because he could go good in the TT and he could possibly win Romandy, or Remco Evenepoel doesn't have a dip in the form and he can win Romandy. Well, we're going to find out today, because on Tion 2000, you can't fake the dip in the form. It's either there and it's returned, you got good form, or it's not there. Now, if it's not there, we got to discuss why it's not there at the end of today's stage. But let's get into today's stage finally, because there's a lot to talk about here too. When the cameras come on, we're talking about 60 kilometers ago. We got 3 riders in the front group. Ben Zwayoff is the KOM leader right now, and he's taking KOM points. Louis Barrère from Intermarché is there, and Julien Bernard from Lidl Trek's in this front group. Now, these guys are breakaway specialists right now, and Louis Barrère, he's been having some good form here in 25 season, but they're all about a 2-minute gap, and when we see the peloton, it's UAE Team Emirates on the front. It's not Pseudo Quick Step. Remco Evenepoel, does he have the form? We don't know yet. We're going to have to wait till Tion 2000 to find out at the end of the stage, like I said many times already. So with UAE Team Emirates setting the tempo and the gap at 2 minutes, we can see they got 5 riders at the front. Now with these 5 riders, the important ones, Jay Vine and Almeida, they're high on general classification. We're talking about just about 49 seconds back for Almeida, and then of course less for Jay Vine, because he won the stage. So when we look at Jay Vine, he's only 41 seconds back on the time from EF Education, Alex Bodine, who his team's sitting second right now. Remco Evenepoel's looking in good spots. We see Lenny Martinez up there from Bahrain Victorious, and basically everyone that's in the top 10 of general classification looks like they're well represented when the cameras came on proper right now. So as we see the group go over the KOMs, and we see Ben Zwayoff get maximum KOM points, so dropping down the descent. Once we come into about 22, 24 kilometers ago, we see UAE Team Emirates still on the front, because we haven't hit the final climb yet, but we see that it's Jay Vine taking his vest off, so Jay Vine's getting motivated right now, and UAE Team Emirates are looking fine at the front of the peloton. We come into the climb. There's only 2 original guys left from the break, as we see Louis Barrère is up there, and we see Julien Bernard up there from Lidl Trek, but their gap is dropping down to about a minute's time right now, and you know for sure these guys are going to get wrapped up. There's no doubt about it. As the climb's starting proper for the peloton, we look and we see Bahrain Victorious get on the front, but just for a short time. Then he blows and pulls off, and then we see Lotto get on the front. What's Lotto doing on the front? Well, Lotto got Leonard Van Etvelt, who's about 6 seconds back on the general classification, but Billy Lesurf, Soudal Quicksteps, 5 seconds down on the general classification, all from Alex Bodine. So remember, that's stage 2, the 5 riders. There's plenty of guys up here that want to pull because they got to get rid of Alex Bodine if they get a chance of winning the Jersey too. So that's why we see Lotto pulling on the front. If you're Leonard Van Etvelt and you got your top form, I'm okay with this tactic because you can get yourself possibly in the race leader's jersey at only 6 seconds down right now. And you know that there's a chance you can drop Billy Lesurf from Soudal Quicksteps, so that could put you in the hot seat. But you still have to remember, this is a big climb. As I stated at the beginning of this video, probably the hardest climb the European Peloton's experienced in 2025. So if you're Leonard Van Etvelt and you're riding your teammates on the front right now, you better make sure you got some good legs. Now, while he's riding on the front, we're going to start seeing the break come apart some more because the KOM jersey got caught a long time ago. Like I said, there's 2 riders starting this climb, so it's Louis Barrero now that's getting dropped first. And as he's getting dropped, we're coming into around 18 kilometers to go, and we look at Billy Lesurf. As Billy Lesurf's at the back of the peloton, he's got Casper Pedersen right there, his teammate, that's looking over at him, and we're about just over 18 kilometers to go as we see Casper Pedersen's going to get Billy Lesurf up to the front of the peloton. Once he gets him up to the front of the peloton, this peloton's still 40 riders big. It's a pretty big peloton right now. Lotto Destiny's not going full gas right now because when we look up at the time gap there of Julian Bernard, he's still holding about 40 seconds, 50 seconds at times. But we know for sure he's going to get caught. Just give him some time. Now we start going back as Lotto Destiny's starting doing some more work on the front. We're going to see Alex Bodine get dropped with just under 15 kilometers to go. Right after that, we see Julian Bernard get picked up. That means the peloton's starting to get a little more aggressive right now. And it also means with Alex Bodine, EF Education getting dropped, we're going for GC lead here on today's stage 4, and we're going for a stage victory. So Lotto Destiny, Sepulveda up there, he's drilling it, right? He's setting some tempo there. And we start seeing that Billy Lesurf from Soudal Quicksteps at the back of the peloton, or near the back of the peloton. We're talking about 25th, 30th position right now. There's only about 35 guys left. So Billy Lesurf showing some signs right now. Remco Evenepoel still up in the upper part of the peloton, and all the GC guys minus Alex Bodine still up there, and Lotto Destiny's Sepulveda still drilling it. Now we go up a little bit further into under 10 kilometers to go. We see Sepulveda's job at the front. He's getting ready to blow as he's pulling off to the left. G. Thomas was sitting 2nd position. He doesn't want the front of the peloton either, so he starts pulling off to the right. And we see it's Bahrain Victorious Pickering that's going to the front. Finley right now setting a tempo that's starting to hurt riders a ton at this moment. We start seeing that UAE team members, the last Superdome mistake for Jay Vine and for Almeida, this is Pablo Torres right now starting to slip. As Pablo Torres is starting to slip, G. Thomas starts to slip too, and they're dropping back. Then we go to the back of the peloton and we look at Remco Evenepoel at the back of the peloton. He's looking back over his shoulder right now because Billy Lesurf, the guy that he said could possibly win here at Tour of Romandy, and he said his form was getting better, Remco Evenepoel's words, not mine, in his article. Now both these 2 riders from Soudal Quicksteps at the back as Remco Evenepoel's looking back trying to help Billy Lesurf at this moment. Now, if Remco Evenepoel had really good form, he's not going back for Billy Lesurf because at 52 seconds or 50 seconds down on the general classification when the stage started, he still has a shot of winning the general classification here. If he had 2025 day 1 Brabantse form here at Romandy, he could still win Romandy, but he'd have to have that kind of form. Right now, for sure, we know he doesn't have it. Now, as we start seeing Remco passing by G. Thomas and Pablo Torres, he's going to come up to Pickering. Now this is important when he's passing Finley Pickering right now from Bahrain Victorious because Pickering was on the front. And if Remco Evenepoel's passing Pickering, what I'm thinking when I'm sitting on the Chesterfield, who's leading this train right now? If Pickering's off the front and it looks like it's going fast, but we see that Bahrain Victorious is getting dropped, Remco Evenepoel's passing Pickering, trying to get himself, along with Billy Lesurf, to the back of the peloton. Then the cameras come to the front. Oh no, Remco Evenepoel is not going to make it to the back of the peloton right now because it's Almeida on the front. And the UAE Portuguese rider right now is drilling it with Jay Vine on his wheel. Now, when you see Almeida drilling on the front of the peloton right now, this tells you one thing. Almeida is working for Jay Vine. Possibly anyways. That's a direct sign right now when you see him on the front and there's 12 riders in this front group. Oh, did I say 12? There was 12. Now there's 9 because we see Leonard Van Evenepoel from Lotto is getting dropped off the back. That means that Lotto was pulling on the front for no reason. That means Billy Lesurf's already dropped. That means Alex Bodin, that I told you earlier, is dropped. So that's 1, 2, and 3 on the general classifications drop. Now, when we see these 9 riders with Almeida drilling it, who's still up there from that original group of 5 on stage 2? Well, that's JP right there. JP Lopez from Liddell Trek right there. He's still in it. And Fortunato is still in here, the original group on stage 2 of the 5 riders that were at the front. So they're still up there. That means Almeida's got to drill it. Jay Vine's got to drill it because they still need to make up some time. And they got to make up where they're down about 25 seconds thereabouts. And they're down about 30 seconds, 32 seconds thereabouts when we're talking about getting rid of Lorenzo Fortunato and JP Lopez right now. So we see that Almeida's on the front drilling it. We're down to 9 riders right now. Now, we still have some hitters in this front group. Carlos Rodriguez from Team Ineos is in this front group. And then the other Rodriguez, Christian Rodriguez from Arkea Samsic is in this front group too. And Lenny Martinez is in this group along with Fortunato and JP Lopez, like I already told you. So with this group down to about 9 riders, we're going to see he's coming from Jay Vine. Jay Vine throws in a big acceleration. Lenny Martinez is all over it. The Bahrain victorious rider at about $1.15 in weight. He's looking fantastic, and he is followed from wheel to wheel right now of UAE team members, each of their accelerations and their attacks, and he's going with Jay Vine. We look back at Almeida. Almeida has Rodriguez, Christian Rodriguez, Carlos Rodriguez coming off the back there. And we look, there's some company because he's got JP Lopez from Liddell Trek there too. Now we go up front and we see that Jay Vine's there. We see Lenny Martinez, like I said, glued onto his wheel. We see Almeida's bridging back up, and then we're going to see Christian Rodriguez come up. Lorenzo Fortunato finds a way to bridge the gap, and then Lopez from Liddell Trek bridges up to make 6 riders in the front. But Carlos Rodriguez, the second Rodriguez here from Ineos in this front group, he's still back there. He can't quite bridge the gap. He's floundering in the back, and it's getting bigger and bigger to the 6 riders up front. We go up there, UAE team members are putting in accelerations or setting tempo. It's diesel time for Almeida right now. The Portuguese riders putting some work on the front. Jay Vine's putting some work on the front, but they're not getting much help. All the other riders are riding tactically right now perfect, but we start seeing some more accelerations from UAE team members, and the first rider to drop is Christian Rodriguez. As Christian Rodriguez is coming out the gap, it's 6.5 kilometers to go. Again, Lenny Martinez is always in perfect position, always riding the wheels and following the attacks from UAE team members. Then we start looking at the next casualty. It's JP Lopez from Liddell Trek coming out the back at 6 kilometers to go. As Lopez is coming out the gap, Carlos Rodriguez is still back there doing damage control the whole time. We look further back down the group. We see Remco Evenepoel is doing everything he can for Billy Surf, but guys, they're losing time right now. We're talking about 40, 50 seconds, 1 minute gap back there to Remco Evenepoel and Billy Lesurf from Soudal Quickstep. We go back up the front after Lopez has already gotten dropped, and we see UAE team members are still setting some tempo on the front or attacking. Now the next rider to come out with 4 kilometers to go, Almeida's throwing in attack, and we see Lorenzo Fortunato gets gapped. He's struggling to start closing the gap as Almeida's throwing down. Lenny Martinez is locked on his wheel, and Jay Vine is back there with Lorenzo Fortunato. We see Lenny Martinez start taking over the front and start pulling for the first time here on stage 4. As he starts working with Almeida, they start getting a little bit of a gap, and then we see Lorenzo Fortunato back there. Stana, he starts pulling with Jay Vine sitting on his wheel from UAE team members. We go further down and we look at Carlos Rodriguez from Ineos as he started wrapping up all these guys getting dropped. He's setting some tempo on the front. Then we go back up as Lenny Martinez is getting some help from Almeida. But Almeida's throwing in that diesel kind of attack. It's difficult to tell from the Chesterfield if it's a full-blown attack. But every time you look at Lenny Martinez, there's a gap up there to the Portuguese rider that he keeps having to close. And then, of course, Almeida wants some help from Lenny Martinez to start doing some pulls. So they're rotating through. But I'm pretty certain what it looks like to me from the experienced eye, every time Almeida's throwing in more accelerations and the gap is opening up to Lenny Martinez, who keeps having to close it every time that Almeida comes through for a pull. Now we go into about 2.2 kilometers to go. And we see Lenny Martinez on the front. Now he starts waving his hand through. This is what I was talking about. This was a little bit where Almeida was clearly holding back just a little bit of energy with those to save some energy for those attacks that he was doing. Now we see Lenny Martinez throwing his hand out there. That means they weren't working well together. Well, Almeida eventually comes through, and then we go into 2 kilometers to go. And Carlos Rodriguez has soloed his way up to Lorenzo Fortunato and Jay Vine, and when he does, he throws an attack right away on the UAE Team Emirates rider and starts his acceleration. But we see Fortunato from Astana and Jay Vine close back up to Carlos Rodriguez back there, but they're holding about a 20-second gap behind the 2 riders in front. Now we come up to about 1.1 kilometer to go. We see that there's a slowing on the front, and it's Almeida. Almeida's been playing some games. Tactically, he has the right to do it. He's been perfect. I don't mind any of these tactics from UAE team members. They've been what I would call close to spot on. You can do them differently. You could attack harder with Jay Vine and Almeida, sit up, slow down, bring it back again. But remember, they got to keep the pace fast because you have to get rid of Lorenzo Fortunato, who's still back there and getting help from Carlos Rodriguez. So as Almeida starts to slow, he wants for sure to have Lenny Martinez come to the front. So that's why Bahrain Victorious rider gets forced on the front. They come under 1 kilometer to go, and now we know for sure these 2 are going to the line, but they're playing some cat and mouse. It's still at about 950 meters to go as we see them on one side of the road, back to the other side of the road, back to the other side of the road. And then with about 750 meters to go, Almeida gets himself back on the front, and Lenny Martinez gets himself in a prime position, sitting second position right now behind the Portuguese rider. We come into about 300 meters to go. Both riders are looking back over their shoulder because they're worried about the group behind of 3 riders coming up. That Carlos Rodriguez, Fortunato, who's the GC race leader right now to take the jersey. If they can get themselves back up here, and Jay Vine there, they might be able to come back up to these 2 riders if they play around some more. But we come into 200 meters to go with Almeida on the front, and both the riders are going to start their sprint. They got a turn coming up, a left bend tight turn that's going to come up at 100 meters to go. So at 200 meters to go, both riders start their sprint. Once they start the sprint, Lenny Martinez is quickly coming up to the right side there of Almeida, the Portuguese rider. They hit 150 meters to go, and Lenny Martinez has got just about a bit of a lead on Almeida. Come in just a little bit further, 125. Lenny Martinez has got the lead. He dives into the fencing there on the left side. Look at the side view here, how close both riders are coming in with 100 meters to go. They come into this, scrubbing the fence right there. Lenny Martinez in front and Almeida in second. They come out of the left turn. They got 75 meters to go. When they exit the turn, it's still uphill here at Tion 2000. Once they start the acceleration, Lenny Martinez looks over his shoulder. I'm sitting on Chesterfield. Don't look back. Keep going. You know the Portuguese rider's got something left in his legs. Lenny Martinez throws everything into it again, looks back over his shoulder at about 25 meters to go again. Then at 5 meters to go starts to sit up, but I'm thinking you're sitting up right now as Almeida's coming fast on the left side. I'm wondering if there's a knucklehead move, but Lenny Martinez doesn't as he throws out the heart sign right there and crosses the line. Victorious here at stage 4, Tour of Romandy. We look at UAE Team Emirates, Almeida crossing the line second, side by side, losing by less than a front wheel. I don't know if I'd have sat up and celebrated at 5 meters to go, but Lenny Martinez did a fantastic job of winning the stage. Tactically, brilliant the whole way up Tion 2000 for sure, but that victory with 5 meters to go, that was cutting it a little bit tight. Now we look back what's happening after those 2 across the line. What we see coming out of the corner there, that's Lorenzo Fortunato. He's still trying to grab the race leader's jersey here at Tour of Romandy. As he comes out, he's got a gap on the other 2 riders behind, and we see Lorenzo Fortunato cross the line 29 seconds behind. Now, just behind him, 2 more seconds, that's Jay Vine, Carlos Rodriguez. We look further down as we start seeing Billy Lesurf and Remco Evenepoel lose just under 1 minute and 30 seconds, where Billy Lesurf had finished 10th on the stage. That's about what I thought when I gave you guys yesterday's Beyond the Coverage story here. And now we got to wonder about Remco Evenepoel's form. But right now, let's go up after the finish line because we're going to see Lenny Martinez celebrating getting some hugs from his staff. He's going to get the race leader's yellow jersey, but only just, as he takes the race leader's jersey by 2 seconds over Lorenzo Fortunato and 3 seconds by Almeida. Those guys were only 1 second apart, but Almeida was in front of him when the stage started. With the time bonuses, of course, we see that it's Lenny Martinez wearing the race leader's yellow jersey up on the stage. Now he's going to get the stage victory. He's going to get the white jersey. KOM jersey, of course, going to go to Ben Zwayoff, and he's going to win it here at Tour of Romandy. And then we look at the sprint jersey or the combination jersey, whatever you want to call it. That one there goes to Jay Vine when he's wearing that kind of orangish, burnt orange color jersey. So we got all the jerseys set up, but we still have an individual time trial on tomorrow's last stage here of Tour of Romandy. Almeida's down by only 3 seconds. Fortunato can come back too, but Almeida's the time trial specialist. Lenny Martinez, who was surprised in his press conference that he got the race leader's jersey. Remember, it was only by 2 seconds, so it was a very close race on today's stage 4. But tomorrow at the individual time trial, you got to believe Lenny Martinez won't win it at $1.15 in weight. So it's got to be Almeida, and then you start looking there in 4th spot at just about 30 seconds still. Well, that's Jay Vine. So Jay Vine still has a shot at winning the general classification here if he can win the time trial tomorrow over Almeida. And Fortunato, can he pull out a TT? I'm not certain if he can hold off the time from Almeida, but maybe Jay Vine. It's a close battle left, but not so much for Remco Evenepoel. When we get into his finishes here on today's stage 4 of Tour of Romandie, he's got big questions. Now, I believe he probably shouldn't have started Tour of Romandie. Whatever he felt that started at Flèche Wallonne when he couldn't follow the attack of Tadej Pogacar, then it extended into Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Remember, he's only about 25 years of age, so he might not understand the feelings that he's having in his legs and his body. And fatigue kind of feels the same no matter what, but there are slight differences. And I would love to have a conversation with him one-on-one to find out what problems he's having. Because you can't be winning at Brabantse-Pijl, then go into Amstel Gold with that kind of form, and then just lose it there at Flèche Wallonne, unless, of course, it's a sickness. But if it's some kind of lack of training, then that could be the call if for some reason he had too many days off. But I think what happened is he probably went into Flèche Wallonne, and then it dropped there at Flèche Wallonne with some kind of bug or some kind of cold or something, which means if you showed up here at Romandie and you're going negative in the hole still and your form's still dropping because you're clearly not coming out. So if you're not coming out, once he finished Tour of Romandie, he's going to have to take 2 or 3 days off the bike and then have a few days, 4 or 5 days real easy, and then start training again. Because, guys, the Tour de France in 2025 is only 2 months away. And Remco Evenepoel does not have a ton of preparation in his legs. If you think he needs more preparation, you're wrong. Right now, he's got to stop racing. He's got to relax. He's got to let the body reset. And then he's got to come up into some spectacular training mode because he's running out of time quickly for the Tour de France if your form's dipping right now. So keep that in mind. Remco Evenepoel is in trouble when we're talking about Tour de France in 2025 coming up in July, so he's got to figure out this next week is a very, very crucial moment for Remco Evenepoel. If he continues training too hard and the body can't recover, he's going to have some problems going into the Tour de France. Now's the last bit of window to relax, recover, let the body rest again, and then bring the training back up for Dauphiné, get ready for the Tour de France. If he messes this up, it's going to mess up 25 Tour de France. Do not mess this up, Remco Evenepoel. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys for the next edition of the Butterfly Effect real soon.